Hey everybody, Life's Journey at 50 here. So hopefully you get a kick out of this series. Something I'm going to do throughout the year of 2023 and maybe beyond. But yeah, so you won't see it on a consistent basis, but you'll see it sporadically throughout the year. I'm going to start doing some interviews of some influential people in the ADV community, folks that have done some spectacular things, whether it's from training to travel to what organization they're part of, and just give a broad perspective so you guys get a little bit of better insights as to some of the folks that you see on a consistent basis throughout the community. So again, hopefully you enjoy the series. Like I said, it's going to be sporadic throughout the year. It won't be one back to back. And maybe I get some suggestions on certain people maybe you want to see, maybe content, comments, questions that you have. But hopefully you'll enjoy this series, and we're going to kick it off right here, right now. Thanks a lot. Stop by. Again, hope you like the content. You know, message below, and we'll go from there. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. Life's Journey at 50 here. So this is going to be a special treat today. We have the wonderful Chad Warner sitting right across from me. So we're doing a dual camera thing to see how this works. But I figured I'm going to do an interview series of folks that are in the ADV world. And what better way to start with a guy who's finished 11 BDRs, right? But we're going to ask more than just about 11 BDRs, okay? So anyways, so thanks, Chad. I appreciate you sitting down with me. So this is great. We're having breakfast, by the way, at First Watch. So this is a lot of noise. So hopefully our camera, our mics will pick this up. So I've known you for what, over a year now?
Oh my God, absolutely, more than 2.
Oh yeah, almost 2, right? I still remember that day that we popped that I rode by a Bob Evans in Mason, Ohio.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a minute, that bike looks like mine. Like, what's going on? And I just walked in right in on you.
Hi, I'm Matt.
I'm new to this. What do I do?
I think before I even said hi, you were sitting down.
Yeah. That's not true. I actually ate a piece of his bacon too. So. Yeah, so, you know, obviously I asked you a bunch of questions back then, like, you know, I was just getting into it. How do I ride? What do I do, you know? Because I hadn't rode a bike in over 30 years. I mean, that's crazy, right?
Yeah.
And then to pick out a 1250 GSA and try to go out and do stuff, right? So, you know, it's craziness. So one of my first questions in talking with folks such as yourselves is, how did you get to here? Like, I know you rode Harleys, right? And you got your Harley, and like, so how long have you been riding, and like, before you got to this, like, oh, I kind of like this adventure stuff, and let me go see what this world's all about.
It goes back a ways.
Okay.
When I was in junior high up in Maine,
okay,
my family has a large farm up in Maine and had trail systems through there. My uncles were old motocross racers, so there was a great trail system that they had built into the woods.
Right.
And so my first bike was a Yamaha 125 Enduro.
YZ 125.
Yeah, and
that was the last thing I ever rode.
Yep, that's what I took out into the woods for as long as I can remember. Beat that bike up quite a bit.
Wow.
Then I got a hand-me-down from my uncle, which was a PE 250. And then the next hand-me-down was a Can-Am 400. And then that...
So you had a lot of, like, dirt, like, in the woods doing that type of stuff on those bikes.
Yeah, I mean, from junior high through high school.
Got it, okay.
And then there was a huge gap. You talk about not riding for 30 years.
Right.
That was like me. I had a gap like that. Because once I got out of high school, I went into the Marine Corps.
Right.
And then life shifted away from riding for a long, long time.
Wow.
And then, you know, probably 13 years ago, 14 years ago now, I had went by, I had seen a new Harley dealership that was being built, or just completed actually.
Wow.
And so I thought, I'm going to stop in, you know, peek at these bikes.
Right.
because my first memory of riding was when I was in elementary school. My dad would come to my school and pick me up on his Harley.
Oh.
So, I went to Catholic school, and so the nuns were like, evil. I thought I was the coolest kid, of course, but that was my first memory of riding with my dad on his Harley. And the only thing I can remember when I went in, was a Sportster or, a Softail.
Okay, all right.
I'm like, there's, what do you want? What are you interested in? I'm like, I'm just looking, and my dad had a Softail. Oh, here's one right here.
That's great.
So before I left, I was the proud owner of a new Harley. I was not going to buy one. I had no intention. And honest to truth, I called my mother from the dealership, and I said, Mom, Dad's looking down on me saying, you son of a bitch. She's like, why, what happened? I said, I bought a Harley. She said, oh, no. He's not saying you son of a bitch. He's saying you lucky son of a bitch. So that was the first time I got back on a bike since high school. And that was only, 14 years ago. So I had that gap as well. I got back on. I started doing a lot of riding with the Harley.
Right.
There was an event or a race, if you will, called the Hoka Hay.
Okay.
And it went from Key West, Florida, all the way up to Nome, Alaska. And it was kind of like the as fast as you
Was it like diagonal right through the country?
No.
You had a certain route?
Points.
Oh, got it.
So,
okay.
you get your route, you try to get there and be the first.
Gotcha.
Then once you got your route to the next point, the next checkpoint, you get there as quick as you could.
Oh, yeah, come on in.
Oh, cameras.
Oh, yeah. All right, folks.
folks.
Go ahead. All right, folks, that's $1 Million Bacon, I guess, or whatever. That is that.
That's mine. Yep.
Excellent.
Perfect.
And we're eating a little bit here, so thank you.
That's my pleasure.
Oh boy, look at this. Chili chorizo. Oh, we're good.
Enjoy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I had to show our food, so just FYI. So, all right, boss. Keep
So
going.
the Hoka Hay, I did not realize that it was not any bike at the time because I started looking to see what bike would be the best. Because the Harley I had was a small tank. It's going to take me forever just to fill up to get all the way to Alaska.
Right.
And this was basically a race and the first one to get there. So I started looking around. I did some research and I found that the K1600 was probably the best bike I could get, which is easy, soft, a big couch you could just relax in and go up, So I went to the BMW dealership, my local down here, and I was asking him about the K1600, and he says to me, well, why do you want the K1600? Well, I'm doing this Hoka Hay race, and first place is $500,000. And he's like, well, Charlie Borman and Ewan McGregor went around the world on a GSA. I said, well, what's that? He said, oh, it's this one right over here. And my first reaction was, that's an ugly bike.
A lot of love out there for those GSAs, baby.
But, he was trying to sell me on the GSA, and I was like, well, let me think about it. Of course, I had to figure out who this Ewan McGregor was and Charlie Borman. So I found that DVD, and I think like most people, I watched it from start to finish. I think it was 4 o'clock in the morning when I finally finished watching all the episodes back to back.
And I did the exact same thing. Immediately, like a week later, went into the dealership looking for bike.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was the same.
Oh my God.
So I can't remember how far between the time I had
for
watched.
you gentlemen. Everything looking good?
Everything's fantastic. Thank you.
I can't remember what the time was, but after watching, I'm like, I want to do that. That's what I want to do. I want to travel like that.
Right.
Have that kind of adventure. And so I was walking into a McDonald's, and there was one of those GSAs sitting outside, and I was like, I'm going to ask that guy.
You had your Bob Evans moment like I did.
Yeah, exactly. I did not think of that, but that was
there
very
you go.
true. Yeah. I walked in, I could see that this guy had all his gear on and had a helmet on the table, and I was like, went up to him and I said, hey, so, I'm Chad. You
have a rally?
You don't mind if I sit
I signed
down.
up for your rally.
Yeah, that's
Remember?
Right. That's right.
Oh yeah, I'm going to Whalen Wayne weekend. Yeah.
That's right. I forgot about that. That's right. I did say that. I'm like, well, if you're a new adventure rider, you have to come to Whalen Wayne weekend.
I'm already signed up.
I'm like, well, then I'm your host.
Oh my God. Yes, so see, you had a kind of a similar situation.
Yep. So I talked to this gentleman. His name was Stephen Gregory. He was doing a documentary, but eventually he was doing an introduction video to March Moto Madness. And I'm like, okay. He says, come on down. The guy that I'm doing it, he rents bikes, and you'll be able to rent a bike for the weekend. So he took his GSA down. I followed him on the Harley. Got down there and met Dan Dickey and Jim Bean, and that was my first experience off-road since high school.
Wow.
Yeah, since high school. I rented a KLR 650 for the weekend, and I was just out there, and I was like, oh yeah, you know, and all the memories came back.
Yeah.
And I said, this is what I want to do again, you know. So I came back up to Ohio, and I think within a week or two, I bought my first GSA. And I was determined that I was going to have my bike for March Moto Madness. So I had my first March Moto Madness was, 12 or 13 years ago for me.
Wow.
And
the industry has changed right dramatically since then, because how many people probably were at that rally back then?
Oh, there, just a
couple handfuls.
Yeah, 200 at the
200 max,
300 maybe at the max. And
I think this past year,
seven guys got together for March Moto Madness.
Yeah, because they just had, I think last year they just crashed over 700. I think at their rally, something like that. Yeah,
it's gotten very big. But that was my first rally on the GSA. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Of course, I had street tires, and I'm at March Moto Madness.
Oh my God!
Off-road, trying to do
crazy shit. Yeah.
I came up with the term that I was a soil sampling. I hit the dirt so many times that weekend. I was just sampling the dirt. But
that's awesome. I love it.
That was my first experience, and I was really hooked at that point. The crowd, the people, the riding, the feeling of it, the adventure, and that's where I got hooked. And then when I got back to Ohio, I was like, all right, where can I ride like that? Where can I find trails like that? And then someone's like, Wayne National Forest has trail systems that you can ride through. Looked it up, bought my annual pass even before I went out there. And since I had no clue what I was doing, I had my side panniers on and my top box on the back, going into the trail system of Wayne National Forest. My first time. Before I left for the day, both side panniers had dents in them from trees. and the bike had a few extra little dimples on it as well. So, but I was hooked at that point. I was hooked.
And folks, just to let you know, Chad does have a lot of character on his bike. So there's been known to have a little bit of maybe JB Weld, maybe some wire.
I own stock in JB Weld. It's doing very well.
You didn't hear that from me. You heard that from him. Just saying. But it is amazing that you take these 600-pound bikes and go riding in the crazy stuff, right? Like, I mean, I've done some stuff, but I mean, so you do all this, and the next thing I know, you're doing all these BDRs, and like I was so bummed last year not to be able to progress further than 70% of Section 1 on the Wyoming thing, but the appreciation value of knowing, like, I finished Mid-Atlantic BDR. Now, granted, Mid-Atlantic BDR is probably the easiest one out of all of them, but doing stuff at Wayne National and obviously March Moto Madness and I've done some other things, especially working with Tom. We all know Tom. To do all those BDRs and I've seen videos. It's just incredible that you did all that within 20 months. 18. No, I'm sorry. No, take that back. Yeah, 15 months, wasn't it?
Yeah. The first 10 were within. It took me 117 days to do the first 10.
So I guess we have to caveat that because Wyoming didn't get launched until almost a year ago. That'll be February of this coming year. Will be a year, and then by the time it got out there, I mean, to do 10 BDRs.
That's all the ones that they had that year.
Right.
With 10.
And you did them all in what, 100 and how many days?
117.
I still don't think people believe you.
I know. Well, you know.
But there's video.
There's video, and there are people I rode with on every one of them.
Right.
You know, and there were 21 people that I rode with. And I put it out there. I put it out there into social media, and I asked people, I said, hey, this is my plan. These are the dates I'm going to try to make and do these. And the first 8 BDRs were all back-to-back. So we did 8 BDRs all back-to-back. And then we had Wayne National, you know, Whalen Wayne. So I had to come back for that rally. And then once that was done, then we did Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. So, but with everybody out there, there's 21 people from start to finish that I've ridden with. And of those, there was 17 people I had never met. I had never met before, I'd never ridden before. And
so that's, to me, out of the 18 months, 24 months I've been doing this, that's the best part about what I've been doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is meeting all. Okay, folks. Hey, hopefully you enjoyed part 1 of my discussion with Chad. We're going to get into some more stuff, but I thought this would be a good break for us in the interview, and we'll bring you another part of this coming soon in probably a few days. So hope you're enjoying it. Come back for the part 2. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.